Well, hello there. It's Tuesday, and I am bringing you a mixed media Friday with Miranda and Tuesday. And this is where Miranda and I do a little challenge and get messy. And so I'm going to leave information on how you can find her and watch her video in the description bar below. But I'm going to tell you about what I did. So we do this every other Friday on our personal channels, and this is a cut file that is the Sweet Succulents cut file in the Cheeky Studio shop. Now, I don't make these cut files, Make Paper Art does, but she is a really good designer. She comes up with some great files, and so there's a link. If you go in the shop, you can hop over to her Etsy shop and pick this up, and it'll match all of the Sweet Succulents ephemera. So I did what I usually do. I took a piece of paper that I didn't particularly like. It was kind of an old vintage type, more of the French toile type paper, and so I just cut it out with a file, and then I'm covering it with gesso, and I am going to get heavy-handed with some Shimmers products and some Lindsay Stamp Gang, some Memento ink, just all sorts of fun stuff, some vibes, some Heidi Swap, a little bit of everything. And so after it dries, I do end up backing it with another piece of paper just for some stability, and that way it lays nice and flat after I get it just the way I want it. So I'm gonna get messy first, of course. So I picked out various sprays. This is a Lindsay Stamp Gang, and I really like it because it's very soft, and that's one thing I like, that they have, they have a variety at Lindsay Stamp Gang. Some of them are opaque, but some of them are very soft and translucent. So you've got a lot of variety over there. Plus they have magicals and things like that. So before I got into shimmers, I had a ton of Lindsay Stamp Gang. I think I bought every color for a couple of years. It was just crazy. Every time I'd get a batch, I'd mix them up, and then so I've got plenty to use. So here I'm going direct to paper with some, I believe that was the Vibes Shimmers Glorious Day, and then I'm adding some sprinkles of the Lindsay Stamp Gang, and then going back with some of the shimmers, and I'm just going to keep layering and playing and loading up. I do something a little different than you may have seen me do before. So there's the Heidi Swap Color Shine that you have to shake forever, and that's what I'm doing here. As Inky Quill would say, shake, shake, shake your Heidi Shine. And that vellum is still blowing in the wind because it gets hot in the studio, and yeah, I've taken that down. So I'm trying to figure out some ways to diffuse light, but haven't bought, I don't want to buy too much, and I don't want to buy not enough, so I'm just taking my time. But I end up going back to this paper and using the end of my nozzle, and you're going to see me make some lines on the paper. Instead of it just being the circles, I'm going to dry this down, and then I'm just going to kind of scribble some lines across it, and it makes it look almost like, well, to me, it almost looks like it's in a sunset or a sunset setting. So it's really, really pretty, and I like it. I think it's a little bit different than what I normally do, considering that it's got the brown cut file. And here's where I said, you know what, I'm going to start making some of these stripes across. And I use the Heidi Swap to do that with. I do some at the bottom, and it just made this cool effect that I really like. It's almost like painting, but I'm painting with the end of the, I guess, mister tube. I don't know what you'd call that. So just sprinkled a last little bit there, cleaning up. If you haven't seen how I made the wood veneer background, I've got a video on how to make that for your desktop. So it just wipes right off, and I love it. So I'm going to dry that complete, and I am going to, I'm going to show you a close-up. Isn't that pretty? So pretty, so pretty. Oh, I did add that same brown toile kind of paper to the back and toward the edge. So that's what you saw there, a little sneak peek of. That's the bottom, and I just kind of tore along the edge so it would show, because I knew I probably wouldn't use any more of that paper, and I wanted to use as much of it as possible. So I went to find a back piece that I could use. I end up using a Christmas paper actually to stretch this, what I call stretching the canvas. And so you're you know, I've shown you this many times. I won't go through it again, but this is an old Christmas paper that's very vintage, and I was like, you know, I just don't do vintage layouts anymore, so I want to stretch the canvas or the paper to this, so it lays very flat. I like that. I've got some wonky ones, but you know, if I can straighten them out by doing this, then they just lay flatter in my albums, and I can get more in there, and I think it's awesome. So there you go. Now it's got some backing to it. So this is a picture of Bab, and we were in Maui, and they had lit up the sign of his company with tiki like flames, where, you know, the guys that have the flame, they're like the Hawaiian dancers, and they've got the flame torches on each end of the stick that they're dancing with. Well, one of them ran up and lit this huge bonfire of the name AppDynamics, and so he stood in front of it, and this is kind of representative of him at work and how he's, you know, awesome and on fire and Mr. Fix-It and all that. And I'm going to explain that as we go, as we get a little into this. But he thought that this was the coolest thing ever, and I was like, well, I'll get your picture before it dies down. But you know what? It did not die down for the longest time. It was, oh my gosh, it burned for, I mean, we ended up going to bed and it was still on fire. So they've really soaked it up, and you know, with kerosene, and it was pretty spectacular. So that company definitely knows how to treat a person right. So here I'm just taking some of my scraps, as I like to do, and I'm putting some ephemera from El Studio, and I'm not sure what the name of that collection is. I don't think I wrote it down. It looks like I did fussy cut out of a 4x6 card the words that say, this makes me smile, and I'm going to show you that here in a minute, and that's going to be my title. And the treasured photographs is El Studio, and so is the heart that I'm going to add. I think that frame is also El Studio. Anyway, it's in this, what I did was, and I showed a video on this, I've been digging through this big box of Citrus Twist, like old kits that I just married them together, and I've got all this menagerie of mix match stuff that I need to do something with, where I've used some of it but not all of it. So I'm going to try to do a series, and I think I'm going to call it Empty the Box, or the Empty Box series or something, because I literally have this huge box, and all I need to do is grab a piece of paper and go to town. So it's a good way to show you how to use up some of your stash or some of your old kits that you don't really use anymore, and you don't want to pitch your stuff because it's all fun and makes you happy. So this is the El Studio 4x6. So I just fussy cut it out, and I love that it says this makes me smile, because I was so proud of him. And that little white label up at the top says born to do this, and the black label says get your soul on fire. So I thought that was kind of cute, considering the fire in the background. I am going to pull from some of the stickers you see down at the bottom in black. I don't know where that flare came from. It says notes from today, and it was from that box I need to empty. And I don't think I added any wood veneer. No, I didn't add any wood veneer, but I did add this sticker that says awesomeness, and then I'm going to add a sticker that says Mr. Fix-It, because at work he is definitely Mr. Fix-It. He's the guy. He is the go-to. So fantastic at work. He's very, very talented. And I also add that one that says be bold, because he is quite bold at work too. And then you may have noticed I added a little bit of twine that I just kind of balled up in a circle. I used to do that a long time ago, and I haven't done it in a while, and I thought that would be good to use. And this is one of the stamps that says Born to be Real, and I just used some Memento ink in London Fog. And normally I stamp in like a gray, because black is usually just, I don't know, it's too bold. I'm going to finish up with some enamel dots, and I don't even think I go back and add any splatters because it's just perfectly messy enough. I will have still pictures at the end as usual, and information on how you can find me, and hopefully I'll see you over in the Facebook group, and hopefully you joined us for Cheeky Chat last night. So that's every other Thursday. Mixed Media is every other Friday. And on Saturday, tomorrow, you can find my YouTube share on the Cheeky YouTube channel using Cheeky products. So it's a busy life. It's a very busy life, and it's a good life. And I hope you enjoyed it. I hope I inspired you in some way. And I hope that I will see you soon, and I'll talk to you later. Ta-ta for now.